What's going on, everyone? What is going on? So there's supposed to be a White House press briefing 9 minutes ago is when it was supposed to start, but they've been starting late, so it'll probably be around like 3 o'clock my time is when I'm expecting them to go on. So let's say maybe another 20 minutes. They're going to do a White House press briefing. I kind of thought with it being Friday, maybe they would get to it a little bit earlier, but maybe not. Yeah, this is what we're looking at. Let me see what's going on in the news today. I haven't actually pulled up any news. Well, I guess they got the Pope in the news. Mess up. Let's see what he's saying. Let me pull up this article. Actually, go back. I had it here. It says Pope slams Harris and Trump on abortion and migration. Calls on Catholics to vote for lesser evils. Okay, who is the lesser evil, though? You only have two candidates. Here we go. He says, both are against life, be it the one who kicks out migrants or the one who supports killing babies. Both are against life. The Argentine was asked to provide counsel to American Catholic voters during an airborne press conference. Okay, who is he expecting people to vote for then? Francis has made the plight of migrants a priority and speaking out emphatically and frequently about it while strongly upholding church teachings forbidding abortion. Francis hasn't emphasized church doctrine as much as his predecessors. It's sad in this day and age that people would rather listen to a celebrity instead of doing their own research. Yeah, man. That's we were talking about it last night actually, that the endorsement of Taylor Swift is going to give Harris quite a few votes, which is just insane. But I think it just comes down to people not having the time to do their own research. Most people are working, 60 hours. They don't have time to look at politics. And it's probably on purpose that we're in a society like that. What is this? Their like election timeline or something? Live updates. Trump speaks to reporters at golf course in California while Harris concentrates on Pennsylvania. Okay. Trump refuses to condemn right-wing provocateur Laura Loomer. Because she was at the rally. Of course he's not going to condemn her. He said, Laura's been a supporter of mine. I don't control Laura, which is legit. I can't tell Laura what to do. She's a supporter. He's not. They're twisting words again. You can kind of tell just from the quotes. Trump acknowledged Loomer has got strong opinions, but said that she was unaware of her recent comments. Loomer has posted a string of vile posts on social media platform X in recent days about Harris. Yeah, that's when she was talking about Curry and all that other stuff. Yeah, she said the White House will smell like curry. Wow, so X actually limited this post too. Even X is trying to censor this, so that's actually a good sign. Hmm. What else is going on in the world? Domestic oil drilling by Harris. Let's see what else is going on. So I did end up getting the job, Chadwin. Gonna be starting work in 2 weeks, which, gotta go back to work and make the money, I guess. No other choice there, right? Gotta buy a house, so that's gonna be the plan. Hey, thank you. Yeah, I gotta go back to work, unfortunately. My plan is if I start in 2 weeks, I want to try and get this channel in the YouTube partner program. And then I want to get my coffee website going in that time. I got 2 weeks to do it. It won't be the same during lunchtime over here. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to stream Monday through Thursday. But Friday, if they have, like today, if they have a press briefing, I could do it. I still plan to stream. I'll have 3 days off, and maybe there's some days after I get off work I could still stream. I want to keep trying to build this channel up. Thanks, Paul. It's a weird feeling because, to be honest, I don't really want to go back to work. But if I'm gonna buy a house and kind of put myself in a better position, unfortunately, you have to work. It's just how it goes. So, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I want to buy a house. I want to try and pay it off really quickly, at least 5 years if I can, depending on what the money looks like. And then I want to start trying to maybe do some real estate, get rental properties. And if I'm doing real estate, I can take videos from that. I have another finance channel that's kind of dead right now. I could do real estate videos on the finance channel and then just live stream over here. So that's kind of my plan going forward for that. But that's like many steps in the future, My main step right now, get my coffee website going, get this channel monetized. By then I'm going back to work, kind of figure out the job and everything, make sure everything's good. And then I'm going to buy some equipment, probably with my first couple checks, some cameras and stuff, some toys, because I haven't bought any toys in a while, and then just save for a house. So my direct boss is gay, a straight passing gay, but nonetheless, I showed him a tweet the other day where someone gay called the other gay people abominations if they don't listen to Taylor Swift and vote for Kamala. I don't. Were they trolling? They have to be trolling. Like, I don't. I don't get it. I'm not a fan of her music, to be honest. But it's not marketed towards me, though. So I get it. Like, I'm not supposed to be a fan of her. But you can't deny that she has a huge reach. There's a lot of people who will just, they follow her like Jesus. Really, it's insane. Wait. That's for the likes. Up to 2 likes already. Boom. Look at those new laptops that she's holding. It seems like all new laptops are trying to be like a copy of a Mac. Hope your job is something fulfilling at least. We'll see, man. I don't know if it's gonna be fulfilling or not. It's an office job, so I'm not betting it's gonna be very fulfilling. But we'll see. I just hope the people are cool. He's my boss, was a big Swiftie. He said she can F all the way off. He's tired of her now. Well, yeah, and she's had a big change in music too. So I can see how people kind of shifted on her. She started off kind of like pop country, and now she went into this weird direction. But it's worked for her. You can't deny it. I mean, you can't deny the fans and the money she's making, the crowds. It's insane. Up to 3 likes just from that one. So appreciate the likes. I still can't believe the massive amount of people that are saying Trump won the debate. Like, that just blows my mind. Like, even as someone that was leaning towards Trump, like, God, it was terrible. And then there's so many people are commenting on my videos like, what are you talking about? Clearly he won. He stomped Kamala. No, he didn't. I have a hard time believing someone who charges so much for concert tickets really cares about the poor. Oh, yeah. Oh, she doesn't care. She's flying around on her jet, man. She doesn't give a shit. I can say I like a handful of her songs. To be honest, I'm gonna be fair about it. I don't know like extensively her catalog. I hear some things in stores, and sometimes my wife will play some Taylor Swift. It's just not for me, is the thing. All right, so here is Kareen. She's walking out.
Happy Friday. Okay.
Happy Friday.
We all feel the same way.
We made it.
Although tomorrow is another work day. Okay, so I have a couple things at the top. So yesterday, a North Dakota judge struck down the state's near total abortion ban. The law makes it a felony for doctors and other healthcare providers to provide women the care that they need. It is extreme, dangerous, and terrifying, and has left North Dakota without any abortion providers. And that was made possible when the former president handpicked three Supreme Court justices to overturn Roe v. Wade. As a result,
have you seen Taylor Swift's private plan travels for the 2025, probably a football season, or 24, I guess it would be. I haven't seen it, but I know she has her own private jet. She flies around. She spends all this money. It's ridiculous. Paul says she drops some pretty big donations. I'm sure she does with the amount of money she has.
More than 20 states have abortion bans currently in effect.
20 states.
And
I
it's
didn't know
not
that.
stopping at the state level. Republican elected officials in Congress have proposed 4 national abortion bans while refusing to protect nationwide access to IVF and contraception. President Biden and Vice President Harris believe that women in every state must have the right to make deeply personal decisions about their health. They continue to call on Congress to restore the protections of Roe v. Wade into federal law and fight efforts by Republican elected officials to undermine our fundamental freedoms. Next, I wanted to also quickly recognize all of the amazing Team USA athletes who participated in this year's Paralympics in Paris that ended this past weekend. Team USA showed incredible resilience and strength. This year's athletes brought home an impressive 105, including 36 gold medals. From the president on down, we have all been cheering you on here at the White House. We are so proud of all of you.
Playing her last flight logs, or her flight logs for last year, so much for her carbon footprint. Yeah, I saw that too, which it's a little bit, yeah, she's rich. Let's just say that. I listen to a variety of genres and kind of like the blended stuff. To be honest, I'm old. I don't listen to music, or I sound like an old person. I pretty much go strictly for podcasts, audiobooks, stuff like that. If I'm mowing the lawn or something in my car. Why hasn't Biden added more to the Supreme Court? The Congress had the power for a while. Good question. She pays fees for that footprint, I believe. Oh, let's see. Let's see. She pays fees.
As the First Lady said, pardon me, and I quote, "Our athletes carry more than just our flag. They carry our nation's heart and our hopes with them too." And finally, as you all know, the president joined a brunch in celebration of Black excellence on the South Lawn this afternoon. Over the coming days, President Biden will participate in a celebratory engagement centered on the triumphs and legacy of Black Americans and the institutions they have created. In addition to today's brunch in celebration of Black excellence.
So you're actually right, Paul. I didn't know this, but it says, in response to the environmental impact of her tour, Taylor Swift has committed to compensating for her carbon emissions by purchasing more than double the carbon credits needed to offset her emissions. So like she's doubling down on it. So good for her, right? Good for her. I don't like her music. Her music's not for me, but at least she's putting her money where her mouth is, right? That's good. Paul, I've been addicted to the Sugarland Taylor Swift song the last couple of days. I would leave my kids and family behind to go with Jennifer Nettles. I don't know who that is. I'm going to look up her too.
President Biden will deliver remarks at the 2024 Phoenix Awards dinner on Saturday and address the National HBCU Week Conference in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on Monday. These events will focus on speaking directly to the community about the Biden-Harris administration's accomplishment for the Black community. As a proud...
She looks great for 50 years old.
Black American myself, I must say that I am incredibly proud to be working for a president and a vice president who has certainly delivered for Black Americans. His time in office is marked by significant wins for the Black community, including achieving the lowest Black unemployment rate on record, nominating Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court, and investing a historic $16 billion into HBCUs. We are looking forward to traveling to Philadelphia this coming Monday. And with that, Darlene.
Hi, thank you.
Hello.
All right, let's take some
Two
questions.
So the administration had promised to use the full extent of the law to make sure that pregnant patients got emergency care after Roe v. Wade was overturned. The AP is reporting today that none of the hospitals that have denied care to pregnant patients since Roe v. Wade was overturned have been fined. Do you know why?
So I would have to talk to the Department of Justice. I'm just now learning this reporting that the Associated Press has.
The first question, she's already deflecting. Already starting this one off right. Happy Friday.
So I would have to go back to the Department of Justice and also refer you to them as well to get a better sense of how they're operating that particular policy. But I would have to say, and I said this at the top, we would not be in this position if the former president did not appoint three Supreme Court justices with one of the, obviously, one of the goals that they were successful at was making sure the Dobbs decision was done, which overturned Roe v. Wade, which was a constitutional right that women had for nearly 50 years. And that is why the president had to step in. That is why the president had to sign an executive order. That is why we have been very forceful, very clear about what Dobbs' decision has done. And we don't even have to, it doesn't have to come from us. We could see what has happened across the states, 21, 22 states that now have abortion bans. And now that is affecting, as we know, 27 million women who are now affected by this, who their reproductive freedom has been taken away. That decision to make those really personal decisions for themselves has been taken away. But as it relates to that specific question, I would have to refer you to the Department of Justice.
And since the president mentioned Springfield, Ohio, in his remarks, he didn't actually say Springfield, but we knew what he was talking about. Is the administration considering any help for Springfield? They've been facing bomb threats. Some schools were evacuated today. Is there any?
So, look, as it relates to that, certainly we are aware of the evacuations. Local police are investigating what is happening on the ground, the situation. We encourage everyone to please follow the advice and the direction of the public safety, follow their guidance. I'm going to be mindful not speculate on the evacuations, but again, to your point of what the president said and what we have said from this podium, it is that it is extremely sad and concerning that a community is facing this type of danger and vitriol. And as the president said today, I think very forcefully, this.
She made it sound like 27 million want to have abortions. She did kind of say it like that, but I get what she's saying. I'm totally addicted to podcasts these days, Cliff. Have to force myself to switch to music. Yeah, I completely have given up music, and it's been like that for a long time. I'd rather just be learning something new, sparking some curiosity, and music doesn't really do that for me anymore. Most of it, when you listen to music over a certain period of time, it all becomes repetitive. There's not a lot of new things being invented. It's a lot of the same thing. It's just an idea that's rehashed of something else.
This needs to stop. There is absolutely no place in this country, certainly in our political discourse, for this type of vitriolic, smearing, hateful language. And certainly, as we have done in the past 3.5 years, and the president has done throughout his career, and the vice president as well, we're going to continue to call that out and condemn that type of vitriolic behavior. We will certainly offer any assistance if needed on the ground by the local police.
Sometimes I just put some beats behind the podcast. That actually sounds really relaxing. You get like a nice beat going, and then you have the podcast as well. It's a good idea.
And just to bounce off the question about Springfield, the Ohio governor said that the federal government needs to give Springfield some help to deal with the influx of migrants. What's the president's reaction to that, and does the White House have plans to provide some funding to the state?
So a couple of things, and I'm actually glad you asked this question, because there are a couple of things I do want to lay out that the administration has been able to do.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs.
Again, this is conspiracy theory, what we're hearing, that has been debunked by the Ohio, the Ohio Police Department, the Springfield mayor, the city manager, and so we have to make sure that we put that out there, that this has been debunked. And spreading this type of hateful conspiracy theories is indeed very dangerous.
Did she just say they're evacuating Springfield? I haven't seen any reports of violence there. No, what I heard is they were trying to ask for more funding because of all the migrants being placed there. They just want money. Most government officials there are, they're going to want money.
It's very dangerous.
But then she just said it was dangerous, so what's she talking about? Let me look it up.
Our priority has been ensuring communities across the country have the support they need. So we've delivered resources to Ohio as well to cities, states, and non-for-profits across the country. Since the spring, DHS has been directly engaged with the city of Springfield and local officials to make sure they have the support they need. And we want to do more. We would like to do more. That's why we did the bipartisan proposal with the Senate early at the end of last year, obviously early into this year, and it was stopped. It was stopped because the former president said that bill, that particular proposal, would hurt him and help Joe Biden. And so Republicans in Congress stopped that. It would have given more. Would have given more resources to cities like Springfield, Ohio, but I don't want it to.
They've been dealing with bomb threats over this. That's right. They said that yesterday. Yeah, Paul's right. They were getting bomb threats.
To miss the point here that the administration has indeed provided more than $1.3 billion in grant funding in jurisdiction around the country to help with the influx and what they're dealing with. We want to do more, but we've been blocked in doing so.
So are there any new conversations that the president is trying to start right now for further assistance?
We want to fix this problem. We want. We did $1.3 billion. That's something that this administration has been able to do. We want more funding. Republicans are getting in the way.
So this is kind of fucked up. I didn't know it was this bad. They're basically saying 2 elementary schools were evacuated and middle school was closed on Friday in the wake of the new threat sent via email in Springfield. Man, I don't care what political party you're for. Why are you calling in bomb threats into a elementary school? Like, come on. What is wrong with these people? Because I thought before, when we were listening yesterday, it was like some kind of government building, which I'm like, okay, we don't want that, obviously, but it made more sense to turn and call in bomb threats into a school over this. And I guess we don't even know if this is actually linked, to be honest. Multiple agencies, media, let's see. Yeah, they're still working with local police to help identify the source of the threat. So they don't actually know a motive. I think they're just kind of assuming that it's linked. Yeah, the mayor said it. It says the mayor said he believes that these threats are directly connected to the baseless rumors spread online in the wake of the viral social media post claiming Haitian migrants were abducting people's pets and eating them. So yeah, so it's the mayor who actually kind of said that because they care about children, right? Yeah, right. No abortion, but they're going to call in bomb threats into elementary schools. Makes total sense.
Congress, we were able to put forward, a bipartisan deal that would have been the toughest and the fairest law if the president had an opportunity to sign it. Republicans got in the way. Now, if Republicans want to work with us in a good faith, they did. They actually did. And then they turned their backs on what they wanted, on what they thought.
The U.S. government doesn't have the ability to trace an email. Oh, they absolutely do, but it just happened today, so it's going to take some time. They probably already know right now, but the media just reported this. Let me see. At 1:42 p.m. today. So this is a new thing going on. I'm sure most people on a cybersecurity team, they probably already know where it's coming from.
Thought they believed would be the right way to move forward in dealing with the immigration system and dealing with the border challenges, and they walked away from it. And we need them to come to the table again. We need them to actually want to move forward to deal with this issue.
And just shifting gears to Boeing, 30,000 workers are on strike for the first time in 16 years at Boeing, and Boeing CFO said this is going to impact production, deliveries, operations, and will jeopardize their recovery. So how is the president reacting to this, and what's his message to those workers?
So we're administration officials are indeed in touch with Boeing and the machinist. So we encourage.
Most people are realizing and finding out about all the pork in that bill, but yet they keep spewing the same narrative. It keeps going. They double down on the lie.
Them to negotiate in good faith, which is something that we say when situations get to this level, and we believe that they need to negotiate, yes, in good faith, and work towards an agreement that gives employees benefits and that they deserve. that, and it would make the country, and it would make the companies stronger as well. So we're in touch with the parties, and again, continue to encourage them to negotiate in good faith. Okay, Louisa.
Thank you, Corinne. First, 2 points of clarification on Springfield.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories aside, the governor says that this influx of migrants has caused a significant strain on the healthcare and public safety system in Springfield. Does the administration acknowledge that? Or talk to them about it?
Look, and I said this in my answer prior, we've been in touch with Springfield since the spring. We've been in touch with them. DHS has, and we've been offering assistance to them, and that is something that we've taken very seriously. And we have been able, during in 2023, this administration, we've been collaborating with states and cities across the country, and we launched this one-stop shop clinics to help eligible non-citizens get work permits and decompress their respective shelter systems. And today, those clinics have served more than 37,000 people. So that shows how we've been working with different jurisdictions across the country, and we've provided, I just mentioned, more than $1.3 billion to address the concerns that, for example, that the governor has, mayors have, and obviously in cities and towns. And so we've done that. We want to continue to help, but we also need Congress to get involved. And that's why the president took very seriously the negotiations that were happening to try to get the toughest, fairest border deal, and we were able to do that. Republicans got in the way. But $1.3 billion to help cities and states across the country is nothing to sneeze at.
So short of a deal, are you saying that currently there is no more federal resources to give to Springfield?
We need more federal resources. We have been working with Springfield,
You
Ohio.
are the federal resources. What is she talking about? How can they say there is no migrant issue when major cities are asking for assistance? She just said there was no issues and there's no resources. What is she talking about? They're asking for resources. I thought, at first she was saying there's no issue. Okay, that's an opinion I could maybe not agree with, but maybe. But obviously, as you bring all these people into your city, yeah, that's going to put a load on your healthcare system, your influx of supplies with groceries, everything's like that. Obviously, it's going to be an issue that you have to at least plan for and think about, as we go into this. You can't just cover your blinders and go, oh no, just let all the migrants in. We won't have any issues. And that seems kind of like what they're doing here. And even the town is saying now, we need money. We don't have the funding to support all these people, but yet they still want to bring all these people in.
In particular, since the spring, we need more funding, we need more. And that is why the president and his team got together with Republicans and Democrats in the Senate to come up with this border deal. Donald Trump, the former president, told Republicans in Congress to not move forward with it.
She's going back to that lie of the border deal. Even though more people are seeing that, there was a bunch of different things in this bill that wasn't just for the border, she's still going to double down on it. It's just the thing that there's no fact checking for these people. I think like probably back in the day, people would say these things and try to repeat them, and they'd be in a social group and people would shame them for it. And now there's not really a system where people are shamed for saying the wrong thing now. There's nothing. There's no real accountability. Like she could literally just stand up there and lie, and she's not going to lose her job. Nothing's going to happen to her. People are already going to give her hate comments anyway, so shame is not going to work. Who cares? Migrants are hungry and pets are missing. Exactly. And you can't completely discredit those videos of those people calling the cops or the reports of these geese missing. I don't think it's a problem as much as Donald Trump would make it out to be. Obviously, it's not that big of an issue, especially for a former president to bring it up in a debate. That's embarrassing.
Voted against their own bipartisan deal.
And then turning to tariffs.
She needs some fact-checking moderators. Yeah, but even then, they're going to be biased, you know? And then there's just going to be a dispute between who the moderators are affiliated with. Like, it never works. So what do you do? What do you do with this system? I have no idea.
During the debate, the vice president described Trump's proposed tariffs as a sales tax on middle-class families. Today, the Biden administration announced new tariffs on about $18 billion worth of Chinese goods that will go into effect in 2 weeks. So can you talk about whether these new tariffs are fundamentally different from what Trump has proposed and how?
So the 301 tariff.
They're stealing all of Trump's ideas, every one of them.
The tariffs. So look, we made an announcement this morning, as you just that went out early this morning, and I think the president, when he back in May, when he was announcing that he was going to take action, he said very clearly he was going to do that to protect Americans, workers, and businesses from China's unfair trade practices, and that's a commitment that he made and he spoke to back in May.
With tariffs.
The comparison, as you're asking me, the Trump administration, the last administration, their trade deal with China failed to increase, boost American manufacturing, and what the president's economic agenda, what we've been trying to do for almost 4 years now, and we've seen some results here, is nearly $1 trillion of new investments here in America. Manufacturing investment has hit record highs, and factory construction has doubled to a record high. The annual trade deficit with China is the lowest in a decade, and that is because of the president's economic agenda, lower than any year under the last administration. And so the president is going to continue to take action to protect American workers and manufacturing, and
Exactly.
encourage China to eliminate its unfair practices.
Trump tariffs are bad. Biden exact same tariffs, good for the economy. Gotcha. Yep.
Practices. As it goes to the specifics of it, obviously USTR will have more.
This is the stuff that I'm talking about, man. Like, I think in a different generation, she would have been shamed, and it would have had like some kind of social pressure to where she would have had to change her ways to benefit society by not lying, you know. But there's no system in place for her to actually be telling the truth. Her job is literally just to support the president, and I really think it's like being in the military. She is the chief coming out, trying to tell the enlisted folk that everything is great, the commander's got it, everything's under control. He's never going to say anything bad about the commander, you know, or any kind of worries people that might have aren't really going to be addressed. You know, it's just going to be this phony thing going on. Targeted tariffs, not across the board tariffs, would be the difference. But either way, it's still tariffs, right? It's still a Trump idea and a Trump plan.
More information on that, but the president made a commitment. He's keeping
the issue, Paul, is that they literally were talking about how Trump tariffs were bad. Like last week, they were talking about how putting tariffs on China doesn't work, and it all just goes back to the consumer, and Americans end up paying the price for it, which we could argue if that's true or not, sure, but it's the idea that they would say that to try and shame Trump, make him look bad, and then turn around next week and do the exact same thing. That's where it's wrong.
To his commitment, and if you can see what his economic agenda has actually done, manufacturing, businesses, and how that lines up with China and what China has, how his agenda has affected China's.
I'm not saying Trump invented tariffs. What I'm saying is Trump's ideas were to put tariffs on people. Last week, the Democrats were saying that tariffs don't work, tariffs are bad, they put the cost on the consumer. And now, fast forward a week, suddenly tariffs are the greatest thing ever, and they're working the economy in a great way. That's the issue. If she's the chief, where's the LT that piggybacks off what the chief just said? It's the dude that comes out. Who's the other guy? They come him out. He comes out once in a while.
Behavior, and I think that matters.
I'm sorry, I should have been more clear.
Yeah.
How is it not a sales tax on all the goods that people buy it.
See, this is
what we're-
exactly what she's saying. How is that not a sales tax? Because they were literally just saying that last week about Trump. That's the issue.
Trying to do is making sure that we're protecting American workers and businesses. That's what we're doing. USTR can certainly get into more details and specifics to your question, but our commitment, and I think it shows in the president's economic policies I just laid out, and how the annual trade deficit with China is the lowest in a decade, lower than any year during the last administration. And so what we're trying to do is eliminate China's unfair practices, and we've seen the results of that. That was the commitment that this president made in May, and that's the commitment that will continue. And this is about American workers and businesses, and we're going to certainly continue to deal with China's unfair trade practices, and that's what you're seeing. Go ahead.
Thanks, Corinne. Just back to the Boeing strike, does the White House believe that there is an immediate economic impact from the strike?
So we're in touch with officials, and this is something that, as I say all the time when I get asked this question, we're going to monitor very, very closely. I don't have a specific question to you on that, on a yes or no, but this is something that we're certainly going to monitor. What we want to see is all parties to come together in good faith and come up with a deal that helps the workers, the hard work, right, continues to really respect the hard work that the workers do day in and day out for companies. But I don't have anything specific. We're going to monitor. We're going to keep eye on it.
Not even a general assessment on the economic impact, immediate or otherwise?
This is something that we're going to monitor.
Okay, and just staying on that topic and stepping back a little bit, you've obviously gotten a number of Boeing-related questions in this job, the door that blew off the plane, number of compliance issues. There are 2 astronauts who are literally stuck in space. What do you think is going on with the company?
I can't speak for what's going on inside of a company. That is for them to certainly speak to. As it relates to the strike that is currently happening, we're certainly in touch with Boeing and the machinists. We want them to come together in good faith. As it relates to the safety concerns that Americans should have, rightly have. Obviously, the Department of Transportation has been on top of that, dealing with ways to make sure there's transparency and they deal with those safety issues. FAA has been on top of that as well, but I can't speak to what's going on with Boeing. That is something for them to speak to.
Just one more on a separate topic. Pope Francis today said about the upcoming presidential election that voters here have to choose the lesser of 2 evils. He pointed to Donald Trump's anti-immigrant positions and then the vice president's support of abortion rights. Do you know if the president is aware of these comments, if he has had any reaction?
I mean, obviously the Pope speaks for himself, and I don't have any more comments from here. I have not spoken to the president about the Pope's specific comments on this coming election. Okay.
Just to follow up on Boeing.
Sure.
So we understand that admin officials, including Julie Sue, are in touch with both sides.
Yeah.
But is there someone specific, like a liaison?
To me, nuance is important. Paul, they need to come out and explain the differences. Just don't say Trump tariffs are bad, but ours are good. Yeah, she acts like we can't understand it or something. No, I think she's worried about being caught in a lie is what it comes down to. And being made to look bad. They're trying to avoid a gotcha moment, that 30-second clip that someone's going to throw up there and sway the majority of voters who don't have time to actually look into politics. That's what I hate about most politicians, really. Just speak to us and be transparent. Yeah, they're worried about being proven wrong.
Like James Sperling was in the UAW talks that the White House has appointed?
So I don't have a specific person to point to from the White House. White House officials, including the Department of Labor, as you just mentioned, the acting secretary has been in touch with Boeing and the machinist on this particular matter, but don't have a person to point out to you. But White House officials here have been in touch.
And are the president or the vice president planning to join any of these workers on the picket line? Have any discussions taken place?
As you know, the president was the first president to go to Michigan and be with UAW workers when they were striking, and he was very proud to do that. Has been named the most pro union president ever, and so he's proud to hold that title. I don't have or acknowledgement. I just don't have anything to share on either of their schedules.
Has the president spoken to the union?
I don't have a call to speak to at this time.
And one quick one on the U.S. Steel, Nippon Steel deal. The Washington Post was reporting that the White House may push a decision on the deal until after the election. We did see some pushback from the White House saying that there was no timeline around this, but is there any clarity you can offer on what the reporting was?
So we've been very clear, the president has been very clear, he wants to make sure that, and it is vital, that U.S. Steel is to remain an American steel company, and that is domestically owned and obviously operated. The president told our steel workers as he has their backs, and he meant that. You remember when he was on Labor Day, he was in Pennsylvania and said that. The vice president said that as well, or made that very clear in her remarks as well. And so we have not received any recommendations from CFIUS. There's a process. CFIUS has to make a recommendation.
I used a tag on TikTok, and it was U.S. Steel, and they took it down. So that kind of tells you moderation on TikTok.
To be transmitted to the president. The president then makes a decision. That has not occurred. That has not happened. CFIUS is independent, and they're going to make those decisions. I believe last week the White House provided a statement that we have not received any recommendations, so that continues to be the case. And so don't have anything. So I just don't have anything to share if this is imminent on a decision. They are independent.
Will the White House recommend that CFIUS expedite the review process?
It's their process.
CFIUS has been looking at the deal for a while.
For some time, I know.
Yeah.
And it's their process. They are independent. And the process is they make their decision, their recommendation. It's transmitted to us, and the president obviously makes a decision. But that has not occurred. And we have to allow them to have the space to make that decision, for the process to play through.
So you're saying the Post saying that the decision, it could land only after the election. Is that accurate or not?
What I'm saying to you, how the process works, we have not received any recommendations yet from CFIUS. Therefore, it could not be imminent if we have not received any recommendations. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, it's Green. Former President Trump this afternoon said if elected, he would do, quote, large deportations from Springfield, Ohio, and would send them to Venezuela. These Haitian migrants are in Ohio legally and, of course, aren't from Venezuela. Does the White House have a reaction to this pledge of the former president?
Obviously, he was speaking as a candidate, and that is the upcoming elections. But I will say more broadly, if Republicans were serious about fixing what is happening at the border challenges, which majority of Americans care about, if they were serious about it and they truly cared about this issue, they truly cared about fixing an immigration system that has been broken for decades, they would get back to the table, or they don't even have to. There's a deal. There is a border deal, a bipartisan border deal. They can vote on it, and we would have the toughest, fairest deal that we've seen in some time coming out of Congress that would become law because the president would sign it because his team was part of certainly deliberating on that deal.
Enough of the damn border bill. Yeah, I totally agree. I want to make like a bingo thing like above the chat. When we're watching it, we can kind of check off all the things that she always says.
If they were very serious about it, they would move that deal forward and help us make it into law. And it would deal with issues that cities like Springfield, Ohio are dealing with right now.
But doesn't the White House opposes any mass deportation of Haitian migrants from Springfield, right? That's what I would assume.
Is that the question?
My question is that, yeah. I mean, that's
obviously, yes. But also, if they really wanted to deal with, I think the real, core of the question is, okay, there's legislation out there. There's a policy. There's a bipartisan legislation that would deal with issues that they have concerns about at the border. And actually deal with an immigration system. Obviously, we do not support mass deportation of a community that is not part of a country that they came from. That doesn't make any sense. That is not something that we would support. But there's a deal out there. There's a deal, a bipartisan deal. They keep getting in the way.
All right, enough.
They're voting against their own deal.
We get it.
That doesn't make any sense. Where's the sense in that? Where's the sense in that? Okay.
The president spoke about the issue affecting Springfield today. Why today? And he did reference the former president directly. Is his message intended for Donald Trump?
I think what the president said speaks for itself. I think he was very clear. He saw it as an opportunity. He had 1,200 people celebrating Black excellence, and he saw it as an opportunity. We keep hearing from the Republicans who keep lifting this up.
The border bill is becoming the excuse for anything. Pets being eaten, border bill, Boeing planes falling apart, border bill, abortion rights, border bill. Yeah, it's pretty much their way of putting the blame back on Trump.
Even though it's been debunked, this hateful smear, it's been debunked by the Springfield mayor, it's been debunked by the city manager, it's been debunked by the Ohio Police Department, and we hear Republicans, national Republicans, continue to spread that hateful conspiracy theory. And so the president took an opportunity to address it head on. I think his words and what he said very powerfully landed very well, and people got the message.
And in the meeting with the Prime Minister today, how much do you think what will the approach be concerning threats that Putin has made about expanding his concerns to the West if weapons are made available for Ukraine to go deeper into Russia?
Yeah, his comments about NATO and the U.S. more specifically, look, that kind of rhetoric certainly is dangerous, but it's not new. It's not new for Russia. Matter of fact, it has been the mainstay of Russian propaganda throughout this war that they've had. This is their war that they've had in Ukraine. This is their aggression. This is what they have done. This is what Mr. Putin has done, to be more specific. And that's how it started. And this war can end. This war, the war that we're seeing in Ukraine, the aggression from Russia can end today. Can end today. Russia can move their troops out of Ukraine, and it can end. So that type of rhetoric is incredibly dangerous, but it's not new. It's certainly not new.
Any announcement about the president's support for munitions being used inside Russia?
KJP, why don't you ever answer questions? I'll tell you what, Trump blocked the border bill, and that in turn makes me have to refer to you other people.
I wouldn't expect any big announcement today. Look, the president certainly is looking forward to meeting with the prime minister. He believes it's an important conversation.
She seems tired today, man. It is Friday, and she also did say she has to work Saturday, but she seems a little worn out today.
Conversation that they're going to have, and a varied conversation, a wide range of conversations about Indo-Pacific, Ukraine, obviously the Middle East, and so I would just leave it for there, and our policy certainly hasn't changed.
Thank you, Ukraine. What is the holdup on a decision allowing Ukraine to use long-range missiles inside Russia?
I'm not going to go. I got this question yesterday. I'm not going to deliberate here. I'm not going to get into specifics from here. As I said to Kelly O, I would not expect there to be any announcements on this coming out of this meeting. That's not something that I would expect. There's been no policy change, but what I can continue to make sure that you all know and you see it for yourself.
She is tired. This is 2 press conferences 2 days in a row. That's true. She did two in a row, back to back. My opinion is that MAGA does not want immigrants from non-European countries, so we'll never be happy with any compromise on the issue. Is it that, or is it just that I don't know. I guess you could say that.
Is that the president is committed to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to defend itself against Russia's aggression, to defend and fight for their democracy. I'm not going to deliberate from here.
The bigger criticisms of this administration has been that on everything it's ultimately given to Ukraine, The answer was first a no on ATACMS, on HIMARS, on Patriots, on fighter jets, and that if this had just been given to them on day one, maybe there wouldn't be the funding fatigue that Congress now has to grapple with the next time they need help, and that the aid that you guys promote has been slow-walked in the form of a decision to use it.
Let's step back for a second.
Have you seen the Stephen Miller clip? No, I don't know. I haven't seen
This
that.
president, what this president has been able to do in the past 2 years, really in his entire administration, is fix the reputation of this country that was tainted by the last president. We have to remember how we started, where we started, and what this president has been able to do. People thought NATO was going to be weaker. The president made NATO stronger. We got two more countries that are now members of NATO. That's because of this president's leadership.
How would the people act if we had an influx of Russian and Palestinian migrants? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you're gonna have some racist people who are MAGAs, and the reason why they don't want people coming into the country is because they're not white. I would agree to an extent with that, but I think the majority of those MAGA people don't want these immigrants coming in because of looking at inflation when they go to the grocery store and they can't afford anything, they can't afford their housing anymore. I would rather see the good in people. Obviously, there's racist people out there, but I believe the majority is more looking at their surroundings and saying, I can't afford as much as I could 4 years ago, and then all these people are flooding into the country, and then probably on top of that, they see all of the crime and everything's going on. And sure, some of that is probably conspiracy theories, but it's fortified in their brain when they look around and they can't afford bread and they have a family, and that makes them fearful. So it works in a way. I was talking about Russia and Palestine as the current enemies of the state. Yeah, of course. Of course. I'm not talking about you, Chad. I'm talking about Paul's earlier comment saying that MAGAs just don't want people coming in because they're not white. They're not European. I don't agree with that. I think there probably is some people like that, but I don't think the majority of America is like that. This Stephen Miller clip, though, that you're talking about, I'm assuming you're talking about, I see an article here. It says, watch Stephen Miller blow a fuse when confronted on propaganda. So let me see if I can bring it up. I didn't see this, actually. We shall see what blocking migrant labor does for the prices of produce. I'm with you. I'm not saying for blocking them or not. I'm saying that I don't think those people are racist. I don't think they're saying, I don't think they're actually in their head going, I don't want these people in my country because they're not white. I think there's a little bit more to it. You were talking about nuance earlier, and there's when you're talking about an issue like that, there's a lot of nuance, right? It's not just as simple as saying, oh, Republicans are racist. It's not. Let me see this clip, though. If it has the clip. It looks like, oh, here it is. Okay, let's see what this guy, I know I've seen him before. Who is he? One of Donald Trump's top advisors. Okay, let me set this up for y'all. All right, it says, I asked Stephen Miller, one of Donald Trump's top advisors, what is the evidence for saying that Caracas and Venezuela are safer than the United States? He began by answering that it is the government's numbers. Let's just watch the clip and get into it.
What will happen? All these...
Day one.
All these criminal migrants that have been flooded in the country are going to be the first to get thrown out of here. I mean, you've seen case after case, these heartbreaking tragedies. Those ones are going to get found and deported first. And look at this Venezuelan gang. You have a Venezuelan gang that is taking over entire apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado, and that's responsible, by the way, for some of the most heinous crimes that have happened all over the United States. The crime rate in Venezuela is down, I believe, a little bit over 60% over the last several years.
Are you trusting the official figures from the Venezuelan dictatorship?
Let's put it this way. If you're a dictator of a poor country with a high crime rate, wouldn't you send your criminals to our open border?
That wasn't my question. Are you
But
trusting the
my-
figures of the dictatorships? Those are Maduro numbers.
I am believing that it is in the interest of a criminal dictator to let his criminals out of their jails and come to our
Do
country.
you have numbers, real numbers, not
I have
dictatorship
numbers.
numbers?
The Venezuelan gangs that have, you've seen the CCTV footage. I have a question. Who do you think? Answer me
My
this.
family is from Venezuela. I know very well the situation of Caracas and many other
Right, and
cities.
tell me, who were the people with the high-powered rifles in the hallway of that apartment building? Who were they?
They were gangsters from Venezuela.
Right. No American community.
But I was asking to you about figures, numbers,
What I'm saying
facts.
to you is the facts are the dead bodies. The facts are
You said that Caracas has a
facts are-
lowest crime
the
rate
facts
than the
are-
USA.
the facts are the mutilated bodies. The facts are the people in the morgues that are dead.
I was asking you about Caracas and the numbers in Caracas. Are you trusting the numbers of the dictatorship
I
to
am
state what
trusting
you're
the fact that Kamala
jeez.
Harris is
Why are you
letting
yelling?
illegal immigrants into this country who are raping and murdering children.
I had been very respectful. Why are you yelling?
Do you know who Jocelyn Ungary is? Do you know who she is?
Do you know how
Tell me
many
who she is.
people
Who
is
she?
experiencing
Who is
violence
she?
in Caracas?
Who is she? Who is Laken Riley?
Why
Who
are you
is
yelling
she?
again?
Because I'm yelling because children are being raped and murdered.
I was just
by
asking for
illegal
figures,
immigrants.
and you have not
Children
replied
are
to me
being
about
raped
those
and
figures.
murdered. Do you know who Kayla
Do
Hamilton
you
is?
trust the numbers of
Do you know
Nicolas
her
Maduro?
story?
I'm asking
I
again.
trust a ruthless dictator will empty his prisons and send their criminals to our country.
So you trust his numbers?
The most dangerous gang in Venezuela is
You
now
trust
occupying
Nicolas
apartment
Maduro?
buildings. I trust that he does not want his criminals to be.
So you believe in his numbers?
I believe he's sending his criminals to our country.
And
Do
do you
you
think
not-
that the crime rate in Venezuela have
Do you
decreased?
not believe the law enforcement reports of Venezuelan gangs in this country?
I was asking for
Are
the Venezuelan
gangs-
government
are
figures,
Venezuelan
not
gangs
the
in this
figures
country
here.
Or not? Are Venezuelan gangs in this country or not? Yes or no?
What
Yes or
are
no?
the
Yes or
figures
no?
that you
Yes or
say
no?
to say
Yes
that
or no?
in Caracas
Yes or
the
no?
number is
Are
lower than in the
Venezuelan gangs-
USA?
Are Venezuelan gangs in this country or not?
So you don't have numbers.
Are Venezuela? You know who has numbers? The Department of Homeland Security. You can ask Mayorkas for numbers. You can ask the Director Ray for the numbers.
Sir,
I'm telling you.
said
you think
that in
Nicolas
Venezuela
Maduro-
the crime rate is lower than the
Because-
USA.
Yes, because the
What are
criminals
your
are
numbers?
here
That's
now.
my question.
Because the criminals are here now.
Those are Maduro's numbers.
I can tell you again that Border Patrol agents are encountering
Do you
thousands
trust
of gang
Maduro
members.
numbers?
I trust the border agents in our country.
But
and
they
I
are
hope
not
that
saying
you
that
have the
Caracas has a
fundamental-
lower crime rate.
Children are dead, and you are wasting my time.
No, I am not wasting your
Children are
time.
being raped.
I'm asking
Do you
for
have
facts
any
as a
remorse for
journalist.
do you have any remorse for the dead children? Do you care at all about the dead children?
Absolutely.
Then that's what I want to leave you with, is that Donald Trump
I
will
was
come
just
to
asking
office.
for figures.
Here's what's going to happen. Donald Trump is going to be elected president, and the migrant gangs are going to be sent home. Children's lives will be saved. And you know who will benefit the most? Are the working class Hispanic communities that are besieged by gang violence.
So you don't have figures.
Public schools that are being overtaken by migrant gangs. You have MS-13 that is brutalizing children. You have Kayla Hamilton, who was a 20-year-old autistic girl who was raped and murdered, beaten to death. That will end. That will stop, and our children's lives will be saved. That is the most virtuous thing that can possibly be done. We are going to save the lives of our children. We will not let Kamala Harris condemn them to a life of misery, suffering, and death. Thank
have
you.
not replied my question.
I think that's all he's got. Yeah. Yikes. The reporter gets props from me, bro. Yeah, the reporter managed to get under his skin for sure, obviously. How long can they say the same thing? What are they, 5 years old? Yeah, they were not getting anywhere in that. They were just going back and forth. Stephen is Trump's right-hand immigration policy guy. Yeah, it says up here that he's like his advisor. Yeah, top advisor. Yeah. Whew. That got spicy.
50 plus countries who are now backing Ukraine and continue to do so because of this president's leadership. Ukraine is fighting for their sovereignty, they're fighting for their freedom, and against Mr. Putin, who decided that he wanted to invade. The president has been very clear how important it is to stand with Ukraine and in this time. We're talking about democracy. We're talking about freedom. And if anything, this president's actions and what he's been able to do has shown just that. Because it's not just about Ukraine and NATO and Europe, it's also about our national security as well. It's all connected. And the president's always going to do what is important for the American people. And I think that is what you've seen, and that is what the president's going to focus on and continue to do.
I just remember sitting here, a couple years ago, splitting hairs with Jen Psaki over whether drones are offensive or defensive weapons. I mean, this has been a struggle of this administration that has been the topic of criticism. And now, for instance, this week in the debate, the vice president was promoting what this administration has done in terms of giving Ukraine what it needs, but there's plenty of criticism outside of that to say that it's also effectively blocking a victory by
She makes me want to take a nap. Yeah, she's run down today. I mean, it's Friday, though.
walking these decisions.
I think if you were to ask those 50 nations, if you were to ask NATO leaders, if you were to ask President Zelensky himself, their thoughts on the president leadership, I don't think they would have the words that you just said to me.
We've been on a stalemate in Ukraine for years. Time to give up and start a new game. They're about to start a new game. They're going to give them access to long-range missiles, and that's going to be the new game.
I think they would say that the president has been a leader during this time and has had their backs. And I think that's what the president has shown. As it relates to what Ukraine needs to continue to defend themselves, we are in regular touch.
It's only 12:45 here. Well, maybe she stayed up late.
Colleagues here at NSC, at State, at Department of Defense are in regular touch with Ukrainians on their needs and what they need to continue to fight against this aggression. So I'll leave it there. Go ahead.
Just circle back to the U.S. Steel thing that Anita raised. Putting aside the timing piece of it, a lot of the question right now is essentially whether the president is reconsidering his position or not, right? Separate from the timing, what his decision will be.
Where's the chat not loading? I was talking about me. Oh, I gotcha. I'm kind of ready for one myself. As a parent asking my children how much are those new long-range missiles going to cost, we got some at home.
He said in the past that U.S. Steel should be U.S. run and U.S.
And I said it at the top
right,
earlier, moments ago.
And quote guaranteed. So I guess the core question is,
And he said he has their backs. He said that on Labor Day.
but is he still planning on killing the steel?
We have to see the recommendation from CFIUS. That is the process. The president is waiting to see what CFIUS recommends. That hasn't happened. There's a process. They're going through their process. I know that it has been some time, but they're independent. They're going to go as slow as fast as they choose. And so we're going to let that process happen. The president's not going to say any more than what he has said until CFIUS transmits their recommendation, and it hasn't happened yet. And so not going to get ahead of that. And what I will say, and this is, I know you didn't ask me about the timeline, but we put a statement last week saying that it hasn't happened yet, so therefore it cannot be imminent.
Well, we've reported that the existing CFIUS timeline is September 23rd, so that's not too far away from now.
And I'm not gonna get into it from here about a timeline, their deadline. I'm just saying to you, we have not received their recommendation, and so. Yeah.
Joe Biden's previous statements on this, U.S. Steel remaining domestically owned and run guaranteed, still stand?
Still stand. I literally mentioned it in a question that I received from one of your colleagues, and I said his position continues. It is vital. It is vital for U.S. Steel to remain American steel company that is domestically and certainly owned and operated. That stands. He said that on Labor Day, which was not too long ago when he was in Pennsylvania.
Maybe that's why I haven't made much effort to watch these. You gotta watch them, man. You gotta be informed. Sometimes she gives some good answers, not always. But so is the U.S. Steel being acquired by a foreign entity not as important as TikTok? I think is what you're talking about. You need to be an American-owned app. I think they considered U.S. Steel being lost more of a bigger blow compared to like TikTok, where they have different sources like YouTube or something like that are more American, I guess. I don't know. I think that's their logic, maybe.
He said to the steelworkers he has their back, and that stands. As far as CFIUS, they haven't made their recommendation. It has not transmitted over yet. So the president, I can't say anything until that happens.
Very quickly, with respect to the meeting this afternoon, we've reported that European countries believe that Iran has begun providing ballistic missiles to Russia to be used in attacks on Ukraine. Can you speak to whether the U.S. also believes that those shipments have begun, or is it unclear?
So I would refer you to NSC. I believe they did a gaggle earlier today, so I would refer you to those comments. Okay, thank you.
I just want to go back to the long-range missile.
Sure.
Just one more. It's just that, I mean, considering the tone of the Russian president, the fact that you would take this as a direct participation of NATO members, and considering Article 5 of NATO Charter, what type of conversation has the president had with his colleagues, Canadian Prime Minister, for instance, one of them, just to have everybody ready for a potential attack on the NATO country?
Look, I'm not going to get ahead of any conversations. What I can say are certainly our policy has not changed. I don't want to speak to hypotheticals here. I'm not going to go into what if this happens, then what. I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. What I can say, this is incredibly dangerous type of rhetoric that we're hearing from Russia. Not unusual. This is the type of propaganda that we've heard from Russia throughout this war. And when asked, we're going to be very clear about that. And then when also asked, we're going to also be very clear that this war can end. Mr. Putin can end his aggression that we have seen in Ukraine. It is his war that he started. He can end it. Pull the troops out. Pull his troops out. He can end it.
Conversations with leaders, NATO leaders.
I don't have any.
The gravity of the conflict.
I don't have any new conversations to share. As I've said, this is not new for Russia. We have seen this throughout the war, making this type of dangerous comments, dangerous rhetoric, not new. And there is a way to fix this. This is for Russia to end its war.
A personal question, actually, Karine, because I was listening to you this morning, at noon, and you refer to yourself as a proud Haitian American.
Yeah. That's not new.
That's not new.
No.
But do you take this personally when the community is a target of attack as it is at the moment in Springfield?
I take it personally when any community, any vulnerable community, is attacked. Not just a community that I belong to, and proudly belong to, but any community, any vulnerable community that is attacked, wrongfully so, in a hateful way. One of the things that I'm proud about in being part of this administration is that we condemn that type of stuff. We condemn that type of hateful language. That's what I'm going to continue to do. And I get to do that on behalf of President Biden, who also condemns that type of hateful rhetoric, as you have heard him today and many times before, when a vulnerable community is attacked. That's not what national leaders should be. Political leaders should not be attacking vulnerable communities.
Trump really did mess up saying that about the cats and the dogs, because now they're going to run with this for months, probably up until the election, paint him as a racist.
That's not who we should be. And if they're going to fall for conspiracy theories online, maybe they shouldn't be our leaders. Maybe they shouldn't be. But it is on all of us. It doesn't matter if you're Haitian American, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish American, it doesn't matter if you're Muslim American. All of us should come together. When we hear that type of hateful rhetoric, we should come together and have each other's backs and call it out, because it's not okay. It is dangerous. It is dangerous. It puts people's lives at risk. And this president is going to continue to stand up and speak against it.
Are there any
Go ahead, Patsy.
Thank you, Corinne. One last try.
It's not funny. I know
I'm
you
just
want to
asking
make.
a question.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
You're making a
Hold on.
distinction.
What did he say?
Hold on. It's not funny. Wait, no. It is not. Wait, I'm answering. Let me answer.
Are there
Stop.
any vulnerable communities?
Not everybody wants to hear the sound of your voice, sir. Give me a second, and I will tell you my answer. It's not funny. Patsy.
Thank you, Corinne.
Following up on one last try on the long range.
Yeah, sure.
That woke her up.
Can you just give us a sense of what might be the president's biggest concern at this point? Is it the risk of escalation with the nuclear power?
I'm not going to get into hypotheticals here. We're going to call it out. Oh, you mean like with Russia making the comments about NATO and U.S.?
We've
She's
been
only gonna
trying
answer
to
two
get
more.
you to give us more details on what's a holdup on providing
Oh,
long-range
I see.
missiles
I
to
see.
Ukraine.
I don't have anything else to share. Our policy has not changed. We are going to be in regular touch with the Ukrainian people as they continue to fight this
Did you guys catch what he said? It was something about a joke, I guess.
a fight against this aggression from Russia. No change in policy. I just don't have anything to add. The president has been a leader when it comes to giving Ukraine the support that they need. 50 plus countries, that is important to note. Making NATO stronger, that is important to note, and that is because of this president's leadership. I just don't have anything else to share behind that.
Can we stay on Russia, if
Sure.
you may? The State Department just announced new sanctions on Russian state media RT, laying out its disinformation campaign operations to destabilize various governments, including the government in Argentina, creating tensions between neighboring countries. Does the administration have a specific strategy to try to stop RT's efforts in the Western Hemisphere or other places in the world?
So I'm going to let certainly the State Department and the Department of Justice speak to their announcement. You heard from the State Department today. You heard from the Department of Justice last week. We are taking this very seriously. They are taking it very seriously. I'm not going to get into what's next. Certainly they will make announcements on their own if they feel that there's more to share.
Can I just indulge with a response that RT has given out on social media, saying RT lives rent-free in the State Department's head. We're running out of popcorn, but we'll be here live, laughing hard. I mean, kind of mocking the administration's steps on sanctioning them at this point. Do you have a response?
So, so let's not forget last week, the Department of Justice, and I just mentioned the Treasury and State, they took some actions to disrupt Russia's covert information operations, to undermine our democratic institution in the homeland. We do not laugh at that. That is very serious, and we take that very seriously. And State's announcement today make it clear that the U.S., and want to be clear, is not only targeting RT's covert operations. We learned that, in fact, RT covert influence efforts extended to places like Europe and Africa. That's what we learned. Anything more than that, I would have to refer you to the State Department and the Treasury to speak to that as they made that announcement today. Just don't have anything else, but we take this very seriously.
I didn't catch the joke. I didn't hear anything. She kept stopping him. Yeah, I don't know what he said, but whatever he said pissed her off.
Okay. Hi, Trinity. I was told you were going to be in the briefing room today. Howard University.
Yes.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see
Want to say a little bit about yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Trinity Webster Bass. I'm a senior honors broadcast journalism major, Afro-American Studies minor, attending Howard University, and I had the pleasure of meeting Karine at the White House Correspondents Association dinner, in which I won a scholarship.
Congratulations again.
Thank you. I just wanted to go back to the event held today on the South Lawn. Why was it important for the Biden administration to hold this event today, and are future events coming of the same nature?
So look, I want to start off by quoting what the president said, and I think it's important today when he was addressing the crowd on the South Lawn. We recognize that this nation would not exist without the blood, sweat, and tears, without the determination, dreams, and contributions of Black Americans. And he felt that it was fitting to do this on the same week of the Congressional Black Caucus Week. It was a really special event. I think you felt that out there if you participated. And so he wanted to host this brunch for a couple of reasons, to show his personal gratitude to the community and celebrate their progress. the progress we've made under the Biden-Harris administration. You heard him talk about that in his remarks, and wanted to make sure that we didn't forget, that we continue to speak to why Black Americans and African American history is really part of American history, and that is something that we cannot forget. I'm going to take one last one. Go ahead, Karen.
Thanks, Corinne. Big political news earlier this week when Taylor Swift endorsed the vice president.
There it
I'm
is.
not going to ask you about the endorsement because you're not going to answer that. But the voting registration site that she drove people to from her post, in that first 24 hours, there were more than 400,000 visitors from that link.
Yeah.
Is the president aware of that traffic and the interest in the registration? And does he think that that kind of influence can make a difference in driving turnout, getting people to get
Of course it's going to make a difference.
more engaged in elections?
I think it's important for people to exercise their sacred right to vote. And that is something that the president finds it incredibly important to continue to do and to protect that right to vote. I do want to say, as it relates to Taylor Swift, what I can say is there are a lot of Swifties here in the White House. And so I can say that. I hear that a lot. Look, one of the things that he did is very early on in his administration, he signed an executive order to do everything that we can from the federal level to make it easier for Americans to vote. And so that is what you saw. The link that you mentioned, obviously, is a way to make it easier for Americans to register, certainly, to vote. It is a sacred right. Many people have fought for that right to vote.
I just signed up today. Just this morning, I am registered to vote. Easy process. Do it online. Took me a couple seconds.
And it is certainly part of our democracy, and so it's incredibly important. I've not spoken to the president beyond the endorsement that occurred. I have not asked him about specific about the link and the amount of people who have gone on it to register. I think that's great. It's important. Outside of this election, I think it's important for people to be able to register and vote. That's why this administration has done everything that we can to give people that opportunity and protect that right. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks everyone.
They're gonna yell at her now. And she's gone. She said it's Friday, I'm getting out of here. Yep, I am. Did T Swift convince you to register? Of course she did. I listened to her magical music and I went, man, I gotta sign up. I gotta vote me some Kamala Harris and listen to her new album, I guess. If she even has a new album. I don't know. I'm just assuming. But I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I got the registered, good to go from the website. Subliminal messages. Of course, that lady making billions off bad decisions convinced people to vote. Yeah. Let's follow her. Let me see what's going on in the world today.
North
You can tell it's a slow day in the news when they're reporting on Justin Timberlake facing DUI charges and him like standing outside the courthouse. So curious about what joke that dude was trying hard to make. Yeah, I don't know what he was trying to say. Let's see if anybody on Google knows yet. Nothing on Google so far. So when you become a massive YouTuber, are you still gonna remember slow people? Of course, man. I need moderators. Can't do that stuff myself. I couldn't find anything. Yeah, I was looking too. I don't see anything so far. I don't know if maybe someone put something on X. Usually they're pretty quick to post that stuff on X. Kamala hates me. What is this stupid meme? Look at this shit. Donald Trump. I think it was Elon that posted this too. Yeah, Elon posted it. She hates the cats. Let me see here. I don't hear what anyone says. Elon is a great troll. Yeah, he's got some good stuff. The video with the pet's reaction. Yeah, I keep seeing those on TikToks. They'll have like a dog, and the dog's like, "What?" They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. And the dog's like, "Get me the hell out of here." Oh, so whoever said yesterday that he took the MAGA hat, Biden, he did take the MAGA hat. He actually has it in his hand. He took it up the stairs. Because I think it's the MAGA hat. I don't know. You can't really see the letters too well. Take it as a souvenir, you know. Let me see if I can just do like White House press brief. Latest. Nah, I don't see anything about it. I think what happened was someone was trying to make a joke to say like kind of like what we're talking about now. Like, what do you think about like the TikTok clips and stuff like that? And she was just saying that it was not funny at all. I think that's what she was getting at. It offended her because she is Haitian. Somebody looped it and put a beat to it. You can't deny that that's funny though. But she's spinning, you know, the image that it's dangerous, and to some extent she's right when they're actually she's given a White House press brief. So okay, you know, I get it. She's not us goofing off online about some dogs and some clips, you know. What is this? This says Swifties are burning their Taylor Swift merchandise and memorabilia and replacing it with Trump merch. Yeah, I'm sure that's not propaganda. She's burning the album. They should have just put paid by the Trump campaign right after all of this. Yeah, I'm sure that's legit. What? Oh, this has got to be fake too. The Trumps, man, they like to troll. It says Tim Walz is having a rough one tonight, and he retweeted this video. It says, "No way, Tim Walz just said Kamala started her career as a young prostituter." Let's see if this is some bull.
Kamala Harris talked about going in that courtroom for the first time. Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prostituter. Kamala Harris talked about going in that courtroom for the first time.
Stupid.
Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prostituter.
That's immature, I know, but I'm looking for the community note to see if it was fake and someone put like an AI voice over it. They're trying to community note raw footage. Well, they put the links in there, so I mean, people can go fact check it. Anyway, so JT get off with a slap on the wrist for his DUI, and Darius Rucker gets 1 year probation for a weed pen and some pills. I mean, for DUIs, you don't normally get a lot of time in jail. I know people that have gotten like 6 DUIs and they're still fine. At some point, eventually, you do get your license taken from you, but I don't know. All right, I'm gonna get off here. Y'all have a great Friday and weekend, and I will see y'all